Do 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 do. Pew 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 pew. Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
And I am Won-Jin.
Today we're going to start off with our review of Heretic, starring Hugh Grant. It was released last year in November. Full spoilers for the movie. Big shout out to Eva, Truve, ZZ, Scott Walker, Void the Parrot,
Ui Chan Hong, Soulless Trenchcoat,
Jasmine, Kayla Marie, Music, Zach Miller Does Movies, and all our 57 subscribers. What's up, ZZ? Sorry for the slight delay. I arrived a little late. That's my fault. What's up, Void? This is for you. Here we go. Yo, Won-Jin, I gotta say, this is one of the smartest script I have listened to in quite a while.
Yeah, I agree.
It was really smart. There were so many layers to it. It started off as a simple premise. You know, I love these stories where everything happens in a day. Like Training Day, or you know how like those movies where one day transforms you. And this was such a great genre blend too, because it had a lot of dark comedy to it. Yeah, some smart script to it, and I think Void will like it. Also, Matrix elements. Is this real? Yeah. Is this real?
Am I a butterfly dreaming of a man?
Yes.
Am I a man dreaming of a butterfly?
Yeah, yeah. So many layers to it. Oh, what's up, Walker?
What's up?
Yo, Walker, we're going to do a review of Heretic first, and then Reacher Season 3, Episode 4, and then we're going to do a Let's Talk. So we saw your replies, so we can talk about all of that in about 40 minutes, okay, man? Oh, what's up, Zizzy? Oh, Joe, a traditional Balkanic superstition says that if you whistle in the house, you will get married in the next 12 months.
Oh, really? In Korea, the superstition is if you whistle indoors and it's night, a snake will show up from somewhere.
Oh, right. I haven't heard that in such a long time. That's why I got slapped a lot in school for whistling. You know, the fucking shocking thing is when I was in elementary school, going to Korean school, I got slapped for two things. One is whistling, and one is chewing gum, and they just slap the hell out of you.
That's right.
Yeah, Walker, we can talk about, we can talk definitely a lot about Scream and all those things, Walker. Oh, Zezzy, I'm glad you watched Heretic. It was, and I gotta praise Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Like, him coming from playing charming characters, I think helped the role.
And I mean, young audience might not have seen those movies, but back in the 90s, he was like in every single romantic comedy movie. He was he was super charming.
He was basically British Matthew McConaughey.
That's right. That's a good comparison.
Like every woman's like dream.
He's like irresistible.
Lol, I guess marriage got lost in translation to Snake. Yes, different cultures about whistling. I think those things about whistling has to do is probably dangerous. Because if you're a knight and you whistle, like you're letting people know where you are. I think a lot of superstition has to do with like danger like that. Don't know the blonde actress, but she was the bomb. Oh yeah, I love the, you know this is almost a play. Yeah. There's only three. Okay, there's 4 characters, but it's actually just 3. And then just and you know, Won-Jin, I also love. I mentioned Training Day because one of the best scenes in Training Day, remember, whenever you are in a confined space, that adds to the terror.
That's right.
And the horror. And the moment they walked in, it's like going into hell.
Exactly.
And then it reminded me a lot of the Training Day. You remember the card scene?
And the Chicano gangsters. And the only thing that saved Ethan Hawke that day was the only police-like thing that he did. Yeah. The only thing that a police should do. Yeah.
So it's like a morality tale, but Training Day was good at foreshadowing a lot of those things. And here, I love that detail too, because you know, they set us up with the conversation that of the 2 women. One seems like entirely complete in her faith, while
almost like blind faith.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also a kind of a misdirect because
that's right.
It's kind of testing the audience because we assume that anybody religious like that is not intelligent. But it turns out she is very intelligent. She's very perceptive. And the one who is actually questioning the faith, you know, ends up being the one that, you know, gets killed, like killed first. I mean, we can talk about whether she was killed or not. And yeah, she really, really gave her best acting in this movie. I hope she gets the recognition she deserves. It says, I think they're gonna get a lot of praise for it. And it's almost like it's going into hell, and it's a journey about. Hugh Grant is almost like evil Virgil in Dante's Inferno. Like he's testing your faith. Everything is that, but
and I love the fact that they casted Hugh Grant, because if we watch just like the moment when Hugh Grant opens the door and greets them, if we just have like a different music, we would not suspect that he's like the person who he actually is, because he just seems so like non-threatening, and yet he has like the most fucked up dungeon built within the house, and we see some like horrific truth about him, but. This could have been just like that movie. What's it called? Don't Breathe. You know, where these like group of teenagers sneak into this like blind man's house who's like a war veteran, and they try to rob him, but turns out there's some like fucked up shit in his basement. Yeah, it almost started off like that movie, kind of like walking into that house and then going underground, but. I really loved, like you said, the layers. This was not just about like two girls getting locked in some like creep's house. This was about a test of faith. And like, I loved the character of Hugh Grant because he's so knowledgeable on this field of religion.
And that's a great point. But I want to add to Void's point here, because Void says, the scene where they come to the conclusion that the one true religion is control was just incredible. I agree, Void. But you know what was more incredible? The moment that character, because this movie is not anti-religion. It's actually a question mark. Yeah. Because Hugh Grant's claim of control is destroyed when her personal faith sort of wins. Or did she? Because both of them die. Did they both of them die? Because Hugh Grant's like narcissism, his super confidence of what religious is, when it crumbles over her faith, because this is almost like Catholic versus Protestantism. Because what did Luther say? Fuck you, church! I don't need a middleman. Like
that's right.
Each of you
can communicate to God. You don't have to go through the Pope.
Exactly, and like her personal faith wins, because when Hugh Grant's about to die, he does. I don't want to die.
That's right. He becomes that little bitch.
Yeah, like Constantine. I did horrifying things, but baptize me before I die, just in case. To add to Void's point, that's what Hugh Grant is saying. That's not what the movie is saying. And I love that, because because I think it's up to the audience. Because Won-Jin, what did you think? Did you think she won? Because I felt like in the ending. Okay, let's talk about the ending first, because that's the bomb. Like
she's out there, the house.
Like, first question, Won-Jin, do you think she died?
I don't know. I think it's open to interpretation, but personally, I think she survived.
Yeah, yeah. Because you know why I think that too? Because when I saw the butterfly, I was like, "Oh fuck, she's dead! She's dead!" And then when they did the Matrix thing, I felt like it was salvation, because she was almost dead, but if the butterfly stayed there, she's dead. Because she said if she dies, she would want that. That could be interpreted as a friend coming to visit her. Yeah. But the moment it's gone, the music is quiet. But I felt like she really, or maybe. That's what we want to believe. It's open to interpretation, but I prefer to believe that she survived.
I personally, in a different approach in explaining why I think she's alive, is because remember the other girl who we probably presume dead. She dealt that final blow to Hugh Grant, and we saw how much she bled out. And remember. The blonde girl, I forgot her name. One was Sister Barnes, the other was I forgot her name. But anyways, the blonde girl with the glasses, she got stabbed with a box cutter. And box cutters, they're not really capable of
doing
stabbing as deep as we think it can because it's too thin. So I don't think she bled out as much.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna manage to like call 911 and get medical care. So I'm pretty sure that she's alive.
So Paxton, Sister Paxton.
Oh, Sister Paxton. Okay, Sister Paxton.
She was killed because she was too close to the truth and too challenging. He couldn't handle both of them because they were both too smart. Actually, when I saw the house from the outside, I was thinking that it would be kind of a house I would like to live in. Okay, but I bet you didn't notice the horns on the wall of the living room in the first part of the movie. They were on the wall behind them all the time. I think she eventually died because it took too long for the ambulance to get there, so I don't think she survived. The blonde girl survived. Yeah, I mean, because remember, Won-Jin, like when Paxton tries to escape the house, she looks at the miniature figure and but that was also suspect to me though. Like,
it's like I was also kind of confused in that moment. So I was thinking to myself, like, which way did she like get out the house? Because they just kind of skipped that part.
No, but like she pushed the window in there, I guess, and that's the window in the house. But my question is like, how she so quickly figured out that represented the house and that would actually show the escape route.
I felt like, man, if there's like a model of the house and the stairs down to the dungeon and shit, you would instantly know. It's like, oh shit, this is like the miniature of the house. What a fucking creep. Let me study this thing. There's gotta be a way out. I'm pretty sure that she figured it out. Okay. But I doubt that she figured out how to work the bolted door in the porch.
Look, cause I thought it was like a symbol. Cause notice how the exit is so small. That's kind of symbolic of how it's hard to escape this house,
and also how hard it is to go to heaven.
Yeah, because and the imagery at the end of the snow coming is almost like heaven-like or purgatory-like. It's not it's a very neutral, otherworldly place.
It contrasts to the horrible weather that had come like the day before, the storm.
Yeah. Void. Yes, it's not anti-belief, but rather a critique of the excesses of organized religion, the exploitation and unhealthy dynamics that emerge from them. Yeah, Void, but like that's a good point, and I want to add to that. One thing is, you know how Hugh Grant's like obsession with religion actually makes him just like religion.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because he has a lot of criticism on religion, yet what he's trying to prove in front of those girls, he's behaving exactly like those cult leaders.
That's a great point.
Yeah, like so he himself is behaving, and like the things that he's trying to like convince them with, that's what a cult leader does. Yeah, it's like give them your version of faith.
It's like Satan saying "fuck you" to God and then making a hell, just like.
That's also a
playing
great point,
God.
because as I watched the movie, I thought Hugh Grant was very like resembling like the devil, because you know how it's known that the devil is very knowledgeable because he used to be an angel and he fell, and he just like I also reminded myself of Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate. You know how smart he is. He knows about everything.
Well, more charismatic because remember in the movie, we do see Hugh Grant's logic breaking down near the end, though. The start for me was when that door was a trick. You know how both doors led to the dungeon anyway? Yeah. The moment that happened, he lost credibility to me. It was not a fair game. You know, because if you are a god, you know how in like old like mythology,
they're supposed to lead to different journeys.
Yeah, and gods are, you know, gods are in a cruel way very fair. Like, you know, you die, you get thunderstruck, but if you get away, you remember like in Odyssey, like gods fight over Odysseus, and when Odysseus outsmart them, they're like, fuck, you got this one, mortal. You win, mortal.
I'll let you slide with this one.
That was pretty smart. I was gonna skin you alive if you lost, but that was smart. But here, this is not fair. And that's kind of symbolic of, I think, religion too, in a way, because you know, if you're given an option of heaven or hell, you get trapped in the religion itself. You know, you get two options, right? Go to heaven or go to hell. Then, I mean, Catholics added purgatory, I guess, to win more believers over, but you still lose anyway. It's one of those things where, you know, Won-Jin, we lived in society, right? You know what I experience is anytime someone tells you there's only 2 options, I always tell them to go fuck themselves. What about this one? Like, why do I? Like, really, from experience, because that's how like con men talk.
That's right.
They pretend that there's only 2 options.
It's like an illusion of limited choices. Yeah.
And the moment that dungeon was a fuckery, I was like, this guy needs to die. I was like, this is not fair.
I thought it was really clever because that's like an illusion of choice when you actually have no choice.
Right.
You end up exactly where the other person wants you to be, regardless of your choice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was obvious, and she was extremely smart. Also, how hard it is for the light to go in. And the whole house triggers my claustrophobia because of the extremely narrow windows and hallways. Yeah.
You know, I gotta mention how like well designed that house was because I love how, you know, that bright living room leads to that very dark hallway. And it's just so weirdly intimidating because you don't know what's at the other end. And that weird fucking statue, that creepy fucking statue standing in the hallway is like, why would you put that shit right there? Man, it's almost like a Greek mythology. You know how like you go down to hunt the Minotaur?
Yeah.
You're going through the caves and shit.
No, but I agree with that, and I also that was, you know, because Dante's Inferno keeps coming back to me because
there was even like a painting on the wall of the Inferno.
Yeah, because that was symbolic because, you know, Barnes and Paxton are going down the circles of hell, and you know, a lot of people don't make it out alive because even Dante, the only reason why he survived that journey was Virgil holding his hand and saying, "You, Beatrix loves you, God loves you, so I got your back, man. Thank you, brother." That's what happened there. But here, what's so fascinating about Paxton's, you know, you could say that when she prayed, God came to her. I'm not a religious person particularly, but within the movie, when she prayed, you could interpret that as God answering her call to save her from this situation. And I love that because and my favorite part is, of course, when Hugh Grant, after hinting at all his like, you know, love for SM, like sex like slave.
I never had a Wendy.
Yeah.
That was a creepy line.
And let's talk about polygamy. And when he tried to say magic underwear, he got fucking shanked in the fucking neck. I was like, fuck you! No, the only problem I had was Paxton finish him off.
That's right. I was thinking the same thing. It's like, you stabbed him once. Stab him 2 more times.
Yeah, he's like stab him in the belly.
Finish the job.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's the point. It even got a bit on the nose when he says, the question is, why do you let me do this? In the scene where he cuts off a finger of one of his captives. Yes. That was a meta line imploring the viewer to draw a similarity between his cult and religion as a whole. Void, that's a great comment. But Void, let's talk about this. Won-Jin, we know this. When we were young, when we were learning about like slavery in America, didn't they always say, why didn't they revolt though? But this is the power of a system and belief. This is the power that it has over human beings. You know, because even in Roman times, like, there were way more slaves than Roman citizens. Yeah. But they didn't. They did revolt occasionally. But I think it's the power of inculcation, the power of like enslaving the mind, kind of does that. And Void, I think your comment goes to, why do people join war willingly? Remember, in ancient times, you see so many warrior cultures where, like, thousands of people just die for a leader when he says something. You know, this is a commentary not just on religion, but like, why do we enslave ourselves to politicians? Yeah, so there's like those kind of layers, Void, I think, because the question, when he says the question is, why do you let me do this? I think the movie is also letting us ponder that. Because remember, this movie also reminded me a lot of Fight Club, Won-Jin. You know, because Fight Club's commentary is...
That's also very meta.
Yeah. It's like asking, why do you pay for that sofa when you don't fucking need it? And they show advertisements and stuff like that. It's us always, like, as human beings, willing to enslave ourselves. Okay, I'm rambling on. Sorry. You can cut me off anytime. Like, willing to enslave ourselves for things that doesn't really do us any good. Like, why do we need those things?
Yeah.
Zezzy, the part of her praying and getting saved by Paxton was to confuse you in the end and make you wonder, is there really a God and not after all? And Zezzy, you could actually say, like, that's... Won-Jin, what did you think? You could interpret that as that whole scene being an illusion. Because it happens just as Hugh Grant is about to stab her, right? Don't you think you could also interpret that as like Hugh Grant actually successfully stabbing her?
Yeah, and the rest is like her fantasy.
Yeah, something like that,
so
right?
It's up to interpretation. And I think after watching this movie, it's not about whether like God exists or not.
Yes.
It's about what you believe. And I think in the beginning of the movie, there's like the session where he's having that conversation with the two sisters, and he kind of tries to induce answers from them. And I think Sister Paxton says that it what's important is how it makes you feel. So I guess it's not about whether like do we need religion or is there a God. It's actually about like what you believe. Because eventually, I think she said, as she was trying to help the ones like freezing to death in that dungeon, she said it still feels good to help other people because it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
And you know, the beginning of the movie starts off with both of them talking about porn, but when the porn shoot stops, Paxton comments that you know, the porn actress like, what am I doing here? And she interprets that as having God, but you know, Won-Jin, in a way, our whole life today is porn, like social media, Instagram, everything we're surrounded by. It's not sex porn, it's violence porn, it's rhetoric porn. And then her comment, I think her earlier comment of that is the entire theme of the movie. She, like, to add to your point, she chooses to believe, because what is without God's grace, right? To her, you know, this all doesn't mean anything. Foucault would have loved this movie. Yeah. Joe, you can cut me off at any time. Jin,
Crime and punishment.
I never had a Joe before. You can cut me off, cut my finger. No, and another thing I loved was it's also a commentary about propriety and manner. You know, because if it was me, Won-Jin, to be honest, when he mentioned polygamy, I was like, let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's clear. It's pretty clear that your wife is not coming. We're getting the fuck out of here.
Why did you... Hey, blueberry candle, throw it in his fucking face. No, but... Oh, another thing, Won-Jin. But you and I, we're guys. So, but he only targets vulnerable women. So that's another layer that this has. Because, like, we didn't notice any men on the cages. And I was like... You fucking fake ass fucker. If you were really about the faith, where are the guys?
That's
like,
right.
Why didn't you overpower them with like a Hannibal Lecter style drug?
That's right.
You fucking hypocrite. Like seriously. Like
pussy ass bitch.
Yeah. If you were really about like proving fake ass religion.
We need like one of like Jason Momoa in there somewhere.
Yes. I was like, there better be two linebackers, two linebacker Mormons come in and say, yo, you believe?
And you better be able to persuade them when they burst through that fucking door.
Exactly.
When they break that shit down.
I was like, fuck you, man. This is not real. You lying. You lying. Yeah, so that was also hypocritical of him. Like, his criticism of religion's hypocrisy reveals his hypocrisy, and I think it's also a kind of a punch at people who knock religion. Because, you know, like, we live in Korea. It's a free country. And I always... believe like faith is also a personal matter. Yeah. And it you know, I think it's also a comment about people who criticize those things excessively. Because you know, it's like that Indian man that didn't believe in God becomes one with God thing. And I thought that was also a comment on that.
And also, I guess it's also a commentary on like what builds faith. And faith without like trials, it's very, also a good point. It's very easy to perish. Right. But we can tell that at the end, Paxton, we get the impression that she believes in faith because she was grown in a home where everybody believes. So I think she kind of boasts that she was born and raised and blah 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 blah. And through this experience, towards the end, we can tell that she's finally at peace with her own faith, and maybe that's why her name is Paxton, because isn't that the word peace in Latin, Paxton?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yo, that's a good point. And hey, Won-Jin, now that you said that, I guess the ending of whether she survived or not doesn't matter. To add to your comment, because she already won. And Hugh Grant failed.
That's right.
He failed to
Mr. Reeds.
Yeah.
Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fucking bends and shit. He ain't got strength, he got shit. You don't have shit.
Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. Yeah. No, and but also let's also comment on like the filmography and stuff. Like the tension building was so brilliant.
Yeah. I love especially how it was shot in the room. It, like Z said, it gives you that claustrophobic horror. And although there's seemingly nothing intimidating about the room, it's got, like this nice and cozy wallpaper. It's got those nice lights. But, oh man, just something is off. And also when they go down the stairs and they come to that study, that library, did you notice how like disorienting the room is? It looks like one of those rooms where they're supposed to be designed for like optical illusion. When Hugh Grant was standing between the two doors. So yeah, something was very, very uncomfortable about the indoors, and it was shot so well that it builds up to the tension. Yeah, I agree. I didn't notice those things, but I did enjoy like just the set design and the pacing. I love the pacing. I was not bored for the 2 hours at all. Like every time. And I love how the movie puts us in Paxton and Barnes' shoes, because I felt trapped. Yeah.
And like around the hour mark, like the first hour was so brilliant for me because it's like Paxton and Barnes, they know they're going in danger, but they can't help themselves.
Yeah.
They have to be absorbed.
I was thinking to myself like, oh man, I wish I could just like whisper in their ear as if like an angel. If you like tag team that asshole, you guys can win. If you two coordinate, you girls have a chance against that asshole.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, after that,
numbers always win, guys. You are 2, he's 1.
Yeah. And I felt like, and the funny thing is, I thought Hugh Grant would have a gun, like, cause when I looked around the library, there were a lot of weapon-like tools around. Like they could have done it right there. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess religion kind of teaches you to be pacifist. I don't know. Maybe that's another layer there. But maybe we're reading too much into it. Like, yeah, the cinematography reminded me of Hereditary. Yeah, the library room looked like a steampunkish escape room.
Yeah, I actually really like that library. I was thinking to myself, oh wow, I wish I could have one of those in my house. That was a nice library. He's not hypocritical because that's what he believes the one true religion is. As he put it, control over others. Yeah. I mean, but the reason why we said he was hypocritical is because the others only consist of girls. Yeah. Where are the guys? Yeah. He's very selective about who he tries to control. Yeah. So, it's And Won-Jin, I think you made a great point. It's not about just belief. You have to put your belief. You said you call it trial, but it's also about action. Yeah. Remember how I don't know. I don't remember who said it, but someone said the moral character of you is shown not what you do in front of others, but what you do when you're on your own by yourself. And it's not just about faith. It's about acting on those faith, right? You have to put those into action. Yeah. And Zezzy, listen, what they did is exactly the way women would behave in a real situation because they were educated to be nice and smile and behave no matter what. It explains so much about how women behave due to societal pressures and gender normative education. That's true. He had to meet a couple of girls who were raised outside that social pressure. Who would fuck him up? No, but just like what's it called, Death Proof. Yeah, he had to meet a group of missionaries who used to be former stunt women. Yeah, but don't you think? No, but don't you think if they were shown to be strong-willed, don't you think he would have just let them go? Probably. Yeah, because he's a very selective chicken ass shit. Yeah, and just what'd you think about the revival scene too? that kind of made me question, like, is this movie gonna be some zombie shit? But then it turns out, and we get all the answers towards the end. It's like why the body was creaking and shit.
Yeah.
They were all frozen.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I guess that's also like a commentary on how like these cult leaders, they basically use trickery when they claim that what they're doing is like God's power.
Yeah, and the problem with, and this is another thing, like God has to prove its power, right? In the Bible, like God always shows something to make them believe. I don't know though. Like, but I did wish those women would escape the cage and rip him apart, like limb by limb. I did wish that.
Yeah.
He needed to meet a bunch of old Korean ladies who are sick and tired of assholes. I heard they don't give a F about societal pressure or norms. They will kick the devil's ass in a beat. Yeah, Korean ajumothers are very
They're
scary.
gangsters, yeah.
Yeah.
You know they're gonna fuck him up.
But anyway, man, shall we talk more about this in Let's Talk, or?
Yeah, I guess we covered all the bases.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
So to sum it up, Hugh Grant acting was fucking amazing,
And cinematography was great.
Paxton-
Those two girls.
I think her name is Chloe East.
Chloe East.
Yeah,
And
great
what was
actors.
the other girl's name?
Brilliant.
Something Thatcher.
Yeah.
I remember Thatcher because it reminded me of Margaret Thatcher.
One of the best part for me was when Paxton turns out to be very clever. She was like, but fuck you, you know what? I noticed the water dripping out of your hair, and I also noticed that, and then fuck you, and then I shank you in the fucking neck. That was good.
You didn't know that I had this with me, huh?
Says he, hold on.
Oh, Sophie Thatcher.
What was your... Oh, Sophie Thatcher. Yeah, they were really great. I love how they played the terrified person. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, I guess, was... like when they notice the first time they realize that they're into this deep shit, when the doors I mean not before the door, when they realize the blueberry pie was coming from the candle, and they know that, oh fuck,
the camera work was brilliant.
the camera work was great. At first with the camera work I thought that candle was like hypnotizing them or something.
I thought it was drugged.
Yeah, I thought it was like a drug thing to like set them off, but it turns out it's just a blueberry pie scent, which is really weird because that prophet lady eventually brought them a blueberry pie.
Yeah.
So why go through all that trouble?
No, because they're all his wives. Remember, he said polygamy, and then so they're all his wives.
But they were actually cooking the pie.
Right.
So why bother with the candle? Or maybe that was also like a test.
Yeah.
To see how they react.
Another fuckery. Void of the two lead actresses were both former Mormons. Oh. That's interesting.
Really? They were actual Mormons? Really? Man.
Wow, so they match even better with the roles they played. Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense, Void. No, because they were... And I love the religious talk, and... My favorite scene is actually Hugh Grant going into PT, like PowerPoint mode.
That's my second favorite scene.
And then he says iterations.
And
I, like me being me, I thought like Barnes and Paxton, if they had guns, that's the moment where they bring out and then light his ass up. I was like, fuck you. You know, because like that was a very smart thing to say too, because you know how there's the saying, every book is about the same story? It's like that.
Yeah.
Because it's about someone's struggle, whether it's love, revenge, or whatever. It's about someone facing a struggle. And every story is the same. And every movie is the same. Like, because remember last time, we were talking about Rambo's and its Descendants.
Yeah,
every movie is another Rambo.
They all have the same story. But it's just... like how you put it down.
Hey, and guys, Won-Jin is a great Tarantino fan, but nothing made me miss Tarantino more than this movie because I wanted. Hey, remember in S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3, like one of the gangsters make the police guy like a lick on a gun or something that he puts between his leg. I was like, I wanted that to happen to Hugh Grant.
Like first shoot him in the thighs, and like
Yeah.
with the hot barrel, just squeeze it in. It's like, does that hurt, asshole?
I wanted Paxton to say, so you like control? What about being controlled? And then just rub, put his finger on his ear. Like, do you like this?
And do you like to dance and like shoot guns near his feet?
Yeah, yeah.
So I like this control.
Yeah, you like them both, bitch. What was the scariest scene for you? Oh, okay, that's a good question. The scariest scene for me was when I think it's Paxton who. Oh, the best scene is when they pull the rug and they're trying to get the knife.
Oh, I mean the matches.
Right,
yeah,
right,
the matches.
Right. And then Hugh Grant is going to the door, and we've seen a lot of movies, so we know that he's not gonna come and save them. But the filming was so good that the tension was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, please pull that. And then when I saw the door, I was like, is that gonna?
Is it gonna fit in there?
yeah. Exactly.
And that scene kind of also reminded me, not just Don't Breathe, but remember that movie called Misery?
Oh yeah.
Just reminded me a lot of Misery too.
That's also that's another form of control.
Yeah.
Right. Celebrity like fans. I mean, as Koreans, that happens all the time in our society, right?
That's right.
Like fucking what do we call them? Hating fans?
I guess.
Yeah. Zedzi, my favorite scene was when the blonde girl confronts him and she finds a hidden door under the table. The rug scene, I think it was one of the with the best cinematic scenes. Oh yeah. I mean, Zedzi, it's one of the classic scenes because when we were growing up, we had so many scenes like that.
That's right.
In thrillers, like please.
Make sure, and then his feet like stops the rug or
right.
something.
Yeah.
And we all fall into despair. It's like, no.
Yeah. It was and the movie was so generous because I felt like it was this is the kind of movie I love. It was not pretentious at all. Like I could follow the plot line with the PowerPoint and everything, and it just makes us.
Yeah.
It's.
I also love as this story progresses, we can see how the emotions change within the girls, and same for us, the audience, because remember how they were kind of crying, pleading Mr. Reeds to let them out, and then as he's going through the presentation, they were actually captivated by what he has to say. They're actually concentrating.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that this is a dark version of Job's story. Jacob, because the funniest thing about Jacob's tale is doesn't he curse God or some shit? He's like, why did you make me do this? I could be remembering it wrong, but
was it Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob. I just love it when a believer says "fuck you, God," and it's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that shit. I was just in a very difficult place. Please,
you know, I didn't mean that. You can read my mind.
Yeah, and you know that I was gonna come here and struggle, and then you knew I was gonna cry. So fuck you. Yeah. It's more than just the scene, but also the SM. Oh, really? The light and the focus. Yeah, the sound design was also great. Yeah. Oh, Hansel and Gretel vibe. Yeah, there's definitely a fairy tale element to it. So, shall we give a number grade now, man?
Okay. I would give this movie an 8.
8?
Solid 8.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
Oh, really?
Wait. I didn't finish my 9.5.
9.5. Okay, that's very generous.
Yeah.
The reason why I gave it an 8, if anybody needs an explanation, is because I thought from how Hugh Grant's logic collapsing. Yeah. I thought that was done too quickly. Yeah. I thought that was the only part that was kind of rushed. I thought it could have had more attention.
You think the last 20 to 30, but Won-Jin, didn't that happen in Parasite too? Yeah. Remember in Parasite, it was kind of building up to that?
Yeah, but I think that's because that was supposed, also here, but it's supposed to be the climax, so everything was building up to that point, and it turns into this full chaos. But here it didn't go that way.
You think the transition was a little abrupt?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially once Paxton is the only survivor.
Because I think that has to do with the point of view changes. I think I think that happens once we arrive at the dungeon. Because before the dungeon, we're moving along the house and tunnels. But I think once we arrive at the dungeon, I think that kind of tension that we had in that claustrophobia that ZZ talked about kind of disappeared for me too.
Yeah.
Like when we arrived at the dungeon.
And then you go through the door after door after door.
Right. When we arrived at the dungeon, it kind of... I would be generous because the actors are new with some exception. They did a good job. I would give it a 9. Right, ZZ. I think it didn't have too much of a peak. So ZZ kind of agrees with you. Void. My favorite scene was when the sisters had to choose between the 2 back doors. Yeah. That was also a great scene.
Yeah.
Because that was also... Acting Void, it was very smart for them to stand like...
next to each door. And
that made sense because remember, Won-Jin, in the first hour, we were shown that they have... seemingly different personalities.
And quite contrasting.
Yeah. But when they're together, they're stronger. So that's I thought that was... Void gives it 8.5. It was a bit mild. I would have liked to see a bit more fear, gore, and weirdness. Yeah, Zizzy, I guess that kind of surprised me too because when I told Won-Jin this was not scary, like that's what I'm talking about. Like, cause there wasn't that horror. The horror element was not there.
Yeah, I was expecting to see something even more fucked up.
Like in the dungeon, especially in the woman cage, right? I mean, I personally would have just loved to see Hugh Grant get tortured. Yo. It reminded me. Remember in Hateful Eight? Like the like what is it? Like what's his name? The
Samuel
British
Jackson?
No, the British actor. He's a robber, but he's pretending to be a sheriff, and he says,
I forgot his name.
What does he call it? Like Wild West Justice. Like we would love to
the Frontier Justice. Yeah, that's right.
Justice. It's so satisfying, but it's not justice. I would have loved to see Hugh Grant get clapped like that. Yeah. So JoeJinMovieSoAwesome 9.17.5. Is it a... So it's going to be like an 8.7. JoeJinMovieSoAwesome give this an 8.7,
yeah,
guys.
It was a very good movie.
Yeah, so very similar
if you like thrillers, we definitely recommend you to watch.
So very similar to ZZ and Void's score, guys. So anyway, we highly recommend it. Thank you so much, guys.
We'll take a quick break.
And then we're going to talk about Reacher Season 3, Episode 4. This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
We'll see you guys in a bit, guys.
We'll be right back.
And thank you, Void, ZZ, Walker, we're going to Let's Talk very soon. Thank you, Void, ZZ.
Mr. Reeds.
Mr. Reeds.
It's time to freeze your dick.
Stop on him, ladies. Fuck his ass up.
Make sure.
How do you like this face, bitch?
Down the rumbles.
Yeah. Shove that machine down his throat. Oh, fuck you.
Okay, did we get it? Now let's put it in the